Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I'm your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel and the Dragon Suplex Podcasting Network. I'm speaking to you guys Monday morning. I'm trying to get myself back on schedule. I was doing 2 a week for a few weeks, about 2 months, and then work got a little hectic. My life got a little hectic. I'm still finding time to watch a lot of wrestling, but sitting down, preparing my notes, and recording, is falling by the wayside, I got to admit, but I'm going to be jumping back on it, to give you guys this podcast. To do the podcast for myself is a bit of a therapeutic vibe that I have doing this, getting able to speak my mind about really anything, just into the void, and then going online and seeing some people enjoying it, some people talking back to me about my opinions on pro wrestling. I love it. I love doing the podcast for you guys, and I love doing the podcast for myself, if I'm not going to lie. I'm going to dedicate this Curtain Jerkin to the memory of the late, great Memphis wrestling legend Andy Kaufman, who passed away on this date years ago. Gone but not forgotten for sure. Another man gone but not forgotten, Muhammad Ali, his grandson, undefeated, knocking people out while Evander Holyfield's son is getting knocked the fuck out. I was looking forward to Mayweather's helipad fight, but that got canceled. So boxing, will always be entertaining, will always be sports entertainment in my eyes, especially in the era of boxing we're in now, which is pretty interesting, which is why I cover it on this podcast. MMA will also be covered every now and then if you're new to the podcast, but we're mainly jumping into pro wrestling as we usually do. AEW, great week that was last week. Dynamite and Rampage. We're going to be running down every single match from worst to first like we always do on this show. But before that, I'm going to jump into my overall thoughts on what happened between the bells, between the matches and everything. Jeff Hardy versus Darby Allin hype video was great, just as good as the match. Everything that Darby Allin does as far as production quality, video packages and everything like that is done very well. Of course, you guys know that I very much enjoyed the WWE video packages and think they're the best in wrestling today, which is why WWE is, I think, perceived as so good, is because of these video packages. As the level they are is phenomenal. Darby doesn't have the money that WWE does. AEW doesn't have the money that WWE does, but I feel like they, with creativity and things like that, they're able to, be up there on the same level as the WWE video packages at times. MJF in Long Island, or on Long Island, is very fun. He's an asshole. They can probably admit that, but he's their asshole, which I think is a way of thinking that a lot of people, especially sports fans, can agree with, or can at least relate to. He even cuts a heel promo that he knows on Long Island would get a good reaction, as if he were a face. It was a stroke of genius here. He's talking to Wardlow, cuffed. They free Wardlow so he can sign the contract. Once he signs the contract, it was kind of this pause of realization that the security realized that we just freed this man from his chains. He snaps, he beats up all the security guards, slams Mark Sterling through a table. Great stuff here. Speaking of Mark Sterling, he's becoming one of the best things on AEW. I feel like he makes every segment he's in better. He's a great talker, great manager. Dan Lambert is kind of getting stale in that shitty storyline with Sammy Guevara, and all the legends, other than William Regal, aren't really doing too much for their clients or whatever since Tully left. So Sterling is quickly becoming up there with some of the best managers in AEW. And my favorite manager in AEW. I mean, him and Regal are kind of tied, in my opinion. Different, apples and oranges there, comparing Regal and Sterling. Jericho Appreciation Society interrupted by the Blackpool Combat Club. Speaking of Regal, and then Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz pop up on the other side of them. I thought this was really good here. So now the numbers game sways in favor of Kingston. Yuta, of course, going over to Japan for the best of the Super Juniors. So we got a 10-man tag worthy of Double or Nothing on our hands. I thought that was very well set up, and I think you got to have Kingston and the gang win this one and shake hands, and then you could maybe spin off the Appreciation Society into the Blackpool Combat Club and have that feud going on from there. Kingston getting his win back from Jericho at Double or Nothing. D versus Rosa is going to be very good. They had a hype video for that on Dynamite. We already know this match is going to be good. They already had a match on AEW for the NWA title, so this is on AEW for the AEW title, so you know it's going to be a banger. Rampage was good as well. When House of Black appears, they get a huge pop, but that's all they really do nowadays is just kind of appear. They need to do more with them. I think they need to do more with this Death Triangle House of Black storyline. I feel like it needs to be kind of on the upper echelon in the forefront of the show. These guys need the tag titles. I think they aren't doing much with the tag titles, so if you put it on this like mystic group that kind of appears and reappears, you kind of have an excuse to not do anything with them because they kind of have taken it with them, so to speak. I think that AEW did a great job building their tag division. In fact, they did a better job building their tag division more so than building the tag champions or the tag title championship. I can name like 5 or 6 teams right now that are more over than the champions Jurassic Express. I mean, FTR, Hardys, Bucks, House of Black, Blackpool Combat Club. I mean, hell, the Lucha Brothers, the former champions, and Red Dragon. I mean, that's like 6 or 7 teams right there. The Jurassic Express really do seem like an afterthought. They've got so many good tag teams. What's happening with the tag titles? Because they're dropping the ball with it here. But that being said, I did rank every single match from AEW from worst to first, and I'm going to give you all my thoughts and opinions on all those matches. Number 10 out of 10, Shawn Spears versus Bear Boulder. Thumb to the eyes by Shawn, just to remind everyone that he's a dick, as if you needed a reminder. C4123. Number 9 out of 10, Danhausen versus Tony Nese. In-ring debut by Danhausen. That's why maybe it's jumped up over the Shawn Spears thing. Big knee by Nese. 1, 2, 3. Tony Nese gets the victory. Hometown Kid wins, just like WrestleMania 35 for the Cruiserweight Championship. Tony Nese gets the victory in what he would consider his hometown. They jump him after the match, and Hook comes out for the save. We're going to get Danhausen and Hook versus Tony Nese and Mark Sterling at the buy-in of Double or Nothing. Then CM Punk versus John Silver, another hometown hero here with John Silver. Hangman on commentary. Punk comes out in this Islander jersey, gets booed by Long Island, and that's when I realized I probably don't know as much about hockey as I thought I did, because I didn't know what the hell was going on here. Punk gives Silver a lot of shine here, but Buckshot Lariat 1, 2, 3. CM Punk hitting the champion's finisher on his friend to kind of help set that match up. I'm hyped for this match. I just don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to give the match to Punk? Are they going to give the title to Punk? He's definitely the most over guy in the company. Or are they going to, put over the title and put over the fact that their homegrown talent, so to speak, in Hangman can beat these quote-unquote WWE guys coming in? What story are they going to tell? I think that's more or less what I'm interested in this match. I know it's going to be a banger, more so because Hangman's in there, because CM Punk has really not been the best in the world, or not even really been top 10 in the world since his comeback for AEW, and I'm a huge CM Punk fan. One of my top 5 all time, and I'm got to be honest there. Conan brought it up too on his podcast as well, but I have to agree. There's been some flubs, and overall, just he seems to be kind of nervous in the ring, to be honest with you. But moving on, number 7 out of 10, Ruby Riott versus Rio. This is the Owen tournament. Crucifix driver 1, 2. Ruby kicks out. Backdrop driver 1, 2. No. Kick 1, 2. No. Rio cannot put Ruby down. Blade Runner 1, 2, 3. Ruby beats the former champion. I can see Rio not lasting a long time in AEW after this. I mean, she was the champion. She got injured. She kind of came back. I feel like her, Nyla Rose, a lot of these people who were staples in the women's division in 2019 kind of are getting pushed to the side now that you have, Ruby, Hayter, Storm. I mean, even Rosa kind of came up out of nowhere compared to where she was in 2019. But moving on, Death Triangle versus Mike Quinn, I'm not sure, Butcher and Blade. They kick off to Rampage at number 6. Quinn with a blonde beard hitting a 450. I would say he's a very underutilized talent in AEW, but then he's in the ring here with Pac, the most underutilized talent in AEW in my opinion. Double dives from the Lucha Brothers, and Pac hits a black arrow. 1, 2, 3. Death Triangle gets the victory. Number 5 out of 10, Scorpio Sky versus Kaz. 2 former champions here, tag champions, going at it for the TNT title. Tope, springboard leg drop. 1, 2, Champ kicks out. Huge cutter. 1, 2, Sky kicks out again. Dan Lambert runs down. Page with a belt shot to Kaz. 1, 2, Kaz kicks out. These belt shots mean nothing in AEW. People kick out of these things all the time. TKO, 1, 2, 3. Champ retains. Men of the Year tease a little tension, but end up being cool. Ty and Sammy get involved here. You got 5 heels in one storyline here. Who do we cheer for? Why do we care? Where's Paige Van Zant? I heard on WrestleNomics podcast that Paige Van Zant is the most Googled superstar in AEW, which is crazy to think about. Of course, it's because of how attractive she is and her UFC career. But I mean, why the hell aren't you flying her out every single week? Is it a part of her contract, or you utilizing this time to help her train or something? But I would have her in front of the screen every single show I do if it wasn't obvious already. But knowing that fact that she's the most Googled wrestler in AEW, get her out there because as fans, we need something to cheer for in this feud. Number 4 out of 10, Jungle Boy versus Ricky Starks. Solid match. Ricky is great. Snare trap. Ricky struggling to get to the ropes, but he does get to the ropes. Ricky tries to use the FTW title. Swerve stops him, but distracts the ref in the process. Ricky with a roll-up 1, 2, 3, beating Jungle Boy. So Jungle Boy even more of an afterthought after this one. This wasn't for the Owen tournament, just the singles match. Christian Cage runs by him, bumps into Swerve, getting into the ring to check on Jungle Boy. I think we're getting Lee and Swerve versus Jurassic Express coming up. I don't know if they announced it yet, but that's what I'm calling here. Number 3, Hayter versus Storm in the Owen tournament. These 2 ladies killed it. They must have had a great match because I'm looking back on my notes and I wrote them so quickly I can't even read them. So I must have been super excited marking out over how good this match was. Storm 0, 1, 2, 3. Tony Storm advances in the tournament. Number 2, Jeff Hardy versus Darby Allin, the main event of Dynamite. This was a dream match because these guys would do some crazy shit in here. And that's what they did. I mean, Jesus, Darby Allin diving off a ladder in the ring to Jeff outside of the ring onto a bunch of chairs that were set up. Coffin drop on the apron, nobody home. Swanton on the steps, turned sideways. Yeah, that's right. Jeff Hardy turned that sumbitch sideways, speaking of the steps, and was unable to deliver a Swanton on them, nobody home. Jeff Hardy ends up winning this match. Holy hell, this was a great match. Usually this would be the best match on AEW of the week, but we had Adam Cole versus Dax Harwood for the Owen tournament. This match was great. Dax is hitting a gear I didn't know he had. Cole, people kind of fuck with him on the internet because of his size, but when the bell rings, he can go, and everyone knows that. Slingshot powerbomb. I love the slingshot powerbomb. 1, 2, Cole kicks out. Super kick. 1, 2, Dax gets out. Panama Sunrise countered into a pile driver. That was cool. Sharpshooter by Dax. The crowd goes nuts here. I'm going nuts here. He's wrenching back, but he had to let go because of the damage done earlier in the matchup. Cole ends up getting the victory here. Great match. If you had to pick one match to go out of your way and watch on this week's Dynamite or Rampage, I would go and watch the Dax Harwood versus Adam Cole match. So that was my thoughts on AEW this week. I'm going to review New Japan Capital Collision. right now, a good show. It's interesting to see what New Japan is doing in America here. Of course, you have Forbidden Door taking a lot of the attention, but they are running their own shows, just like I reviewed in Chicago, and just like I'm going to review now in DC. This was visibly not well attended, even with the lights kind of dimming the crowd. I have a New Japan World account subscription, but I still had to pay $20 to get this event. It was only offered on Japanese commentary, and I gotta be honest, I think I got ripped off here, paying $10 a month plus $20 for this show. It kind of at times felt like a house show, felt like not as big as a G1 card, not as big as a Wrestle Kingdom card, and I don't have to pay extra on my New Japan World subscription to get those cards. That being said, there was some great wrestling. Carl Fredericks versus Ren Narita. Crowd behind Narita here. I really thought Fredericks would really kind of be a big project for New Japan Strong, and be kind of seen in the title picture, if not already over in Japan by now. But that doesn't seem to be the case. They've got a lot of work to do if they're going that route with them. Solid 12-minute match though here. Fredericks does get the victory. Gets attacked by QT Marshall, and with what I said earlier, to my point earlier, I think QT Marshall is a great opponent for Fredericks here. I mean, he's the guy who helped put over Hook. He's a guy who just is really good with younger wrestlers, and he is a coach. And also, a younger wrestler will look very cool in front of QT Marshall. Let's be honest here. I mean, there's no way that, as good as QT is, there's no way that he's going to steal the shine from the person you want to shine. So he's perfect for this role. Team Filthy versus Fred Rosser, Tonga Loa, Dave Finlay, and DKC, and Yuya Uemura. This was a big 10-man tag. I feel like it was crazy to see Tonga Loa in this match. He had a big win on the Dome show in Japan. Now he's in this 10-man tag this week. I'm not sure. The tag team with Royce Isaacs and Jordan Nelson is a great tag team. I want to see them in the World Tag League. Yuya Uemura now growing that great head of lettuce on him. Danny Limelight gets the victory though. Tornado DDT 1, 2, 3. Fun match, but I feel like they did a 10-man tag like this in Chicago, and it was kind of similar. Felt similar. When are they going to pull the trigger on this Rosser Lawler feud? I think they need to do it on one of these big shows in conjunction with the names of like Okada and Tanahashi to get this belt over here. Moving on though, Chase Owens versus Great O'Khan. Crowd behind O'Khan here. I felt like that was interesting. Heel versus heel dynamic, but I thought they'd sway Bullet Club, but they did not. Chase wins 1, 2, 3 with his feet on the rope. So Bullet Club, constant assholes, proving it here. Jonah Rock, TMDK, Bad Boy Tito versus Cobb, Hanare, Mark Davis, and Kyle Fletcher. I'm watching this match, and I'm seeing these two tag teams featured in this 8-man. Thinking about the Royce Isaac Nelson tag team, they got a pretty good division here. And I want to see maybe a lot of these tag teams jump over for the World Tag League to freshen that tournament up. But all I really wanted to see here was Cobb versus Jonah. All DC wanted to see was Cobb versus Jonah. We finally see it. Forearm battle. I'm marking out. Everyone's cheering. TMDK hits a double team to get the victory. But Jonah versus Cobb. This should be a G1 collision. Make it happen, New Japan. And then we jump over to where I feel like the show kind of picked up a little bit here. Brody King versus Suzuki. Strike battle. It was a Suzuki match, but Brody King hits a pile driver on Suzuki. 1, 2, 3, getting the victory. King super over to this New Japan crowd. Super over to Ring of Honor crowd. But they don't do much with him in AEW, which is kind of interesting. Eddie Kingston versus Ishii. Dream match here. Second dream match we got to watch as wrestling fans of the week. We have Darby versus Hardy, and now we have Kingston versus Ishii. Bitch slap battle of the ages. We knew this was going to happen, and that's why we wanted to see this match, and it did happen. Spinning back fist by Kingston, headbutt by Ishii, another spinning back fist, dropping Ishii. Kingston then collapses shortly after. Brainbuster 1-2-3. Ishii does get the victory. I feel like these two matches, the King Suzuki, Eddie Kingston versus Ishii, should have happened like right before the main event, after the Okada match, tag match. But that's being real nitpicky here. Leo Rush does show up, says that he's not ready to come back yet, but he's going to come back soon. I mean, every 6 months this guy is leaving or, retiring or getting injured. It's really hard to keep up with. He's a great wrestler, but his lack of consistency kind of dulls his image for me. Like when he comes out, I'm kind of rolling my eyes, and I don't want to roll my eyes. He's one of the best athletes in wrestling today. I loved him on Monday Night Raw, even when he was running away from Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley's manager, kind of the MVP before MVP. I liked him, I liked him in CCW with Joey Janela doing those ladder matches and everything. I even thought it was cool when he came back to GCW. Thought it was cool when he was in AEW for a short period of time. But I mean, he's in, he's out, he's in, he's out. It's hard to really be excited when you see him, because it might, or odds show that it will lead to nothing. Hikaloa and Jay White versus Okada and Rocky Romero. I felt like this was a house show tag match. That's why it should have been maybe in the middle of the card. Seeing Okada, people loved it. That's why I would have gone if I did go. But, it wasn't on the level of those two singles matches prior, so I felt like they could have put this more in the middle of the card. That being said, Blade Runner 1-2-3, Loa and Switch attacking Okada after the match, and then Leo attacking Okada after the match, and Tonga Loa comes out to make the save, stares his younger brother who helped stab him in the back in the face here. This was interesting. I want to see more of this. This could be the feud that resonates with a lot of people on New Japan Strong if they keep going with it. But I do want to see Tonga Loa over in New Japan proper still. But here we go into the main event. The U.S. title on the line here. Juice versus Ace versus Mox versus Ospreay. Brawl right away. Juice launches himself into the guardrail so hard that I think Darby Allin was even impressed. Sloppy high fly flow at one point to Mox. Then Tanahashi jumps up to get hit with the Pulp Fiction to Juice. Oscutter to Juice by Will Ospreay. Paradigm shift to Will Ospreay when he gets up from hitting his own Oscutter. 1, 2, no. That right there kind of felt like a WWE main event. I think they did a lot of stuff here to appeal to the U.S. audience, but I think that they're overplaying their hand here, because I think the U.S. audience watches, the U.S. audience that's coming to these New Japan shows want to see a New Japan show. They're familiar with it. New Japan is popular enough in America that they could do a New Japan show in America, and I think that's what people are paying their ticket to see. But the crowd was on their feet here, don't get me wrong. They were doing something right. People were chanting, "This is awesome." High fly flow to break up a sleeper from Moxley to Ospreay. I thought that was awesome. Juice hits a low blow to Ospreay. 1, 2, 3. Juice gets the U.S. title. Bullet Club has all the titles like it was 2015 all over again. He cuts a great promo to end the show. It was a solid show, but I don't feel like it was worth an additional $20 on top of my $10 that I already pay monthly for New Japan World. I think that's going to put a bad taste in people's mouth. And also, as a New Japan World subscriber, I feel like we miss Kevin Kelly. I want to hear Kevin Kelly on my English commentary in New Japan right now. I want to hear Chris Charlton. But we didn't get any of that. We got, Japanese commentary, which, don't get me wrong, I used to watch New Japan all the time where it was only Japanese commentary. But I think I'm spoiled a little bit. Kevin Kelly spoiled me a little bit. I think he would do better on this show rather than the opening round of Best of the Super Junior, which I think is what they were doing with him instead of this show. But that's being extremely nitpicky. Forbidden Door is already sold out. This was poorly attended. Maybe because everyone's going to Forbidden Door. Chicago is packed, and that's where Forbidden Door is going to be held. So I wouldn't worry about the attendance for, future shows for New Japan Strong or New Japan USA, whatever they want to call it. I wouldn't be worried about anything in wrestling. Wrestling seems to be, hitting a lot of strides here in 2022. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I'm enjoying boxing in 2022. I never thought I would dive into boxing as much as I am. I'm enjoying talking to you guys. As always, fly high. I'm out.